Happy Wednesday to you. Really looking forward to continuing our study together in Solomon's a grand experiment of life under the sun in the book of Ecclesiastes. Spending really the majority of our time tonight in chapter 4. We're going to go back and we're going to put a bow on last class, but then we're going to pick up in chapter 4 at verse 4. Solomon is going to address the subject of work. In the backdrop, really, of the reality of death, in the backdrop of all this earthly injustice, he brings up work. So let's ask these questions in preparation for tonight. Number one, is work good? Number two, is work commanded? Number three, what makes work good? And then number four, why does God command us to work? I want you to give those questions some thought. Our why of work, I think, matters. I think class will bear that out tonight. But as Solomon addresses, while there are noble and right godly reasons for work, there's also some foolish reasons that can drive us to work and to even work more. Motives that are empty and that will leave us empty. He addresses, starting in verse 4, the issue of human rivalry or competition, keeping up with others. Is that a good reason to work? Why or why not? How much of our drive for more is fueled by more work, this fuel to work more? How much of it is done out of competition and rivalry? And is that good? Is it bad? Does it matter? Let's talk about it. What role does modern social media play in all of this as the first thing people do in our society, my generation and younger, is the minute you buy that boat, the minute you buy that house, the minute you buy that new car, the minute you do whatever, you go on that vacation, what do? Well, you post it, right? You post it for others to see. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that posting things is wrong. It certainly comes down to why are you posting it? And I do think that there are um, some kind of things that we should consider before we post these things. We need to ask ourselves, why am I posting this? But beginning in verse 7, he brings up the reality that as one consumes himself with work, keeping up with the Joneses, we might say, in doing so, man misses out on so much. Now, most of us have been around for a little while, and you've seen men and women alike, for lack of a better term, just consume themselves with work. Now, for whatever reason, maybe this has been a personal problem for you. I will tell you that certainly I know I've struggled with this from time to time, seen people that I love struggle with this, and certainly we have the ability to justify it in so many ways. But in doing so, what's the cost? Like, what do we as humans miss out on? What if we missed out on possibly in our lives by way of our families, the kingdom? Does that matter? Now Solomon in this context, he's going to talk much about relationships, the importance of relationships, how consuming oneself with work, how it can rob one of God's greatest blessings, that being relationships. And you get the sense that Solomon has known this struggle. So, what are your thoughts on what Solomon says there in verse 9, chapter 4, verse 9? Now, if you're so inclined, I'd love to hear your testimony as to your experience by way of the power of relationships in your life. Make the case for relationships, for building relationships, whether that be your spouse, your children, your brethren, just the strength that comes from one another, knowing one another, understanding one another, having people in your corner. And can work choke that blessing out in our lives without the proper perspective, the proper motive? How about this? The proper balance. How does one go about achieving the proper balance? Understanding that work has a purpose, understanding that work is a command, understanding that work is good. It's good. That work is a great blessing from God. How do we achieve that balance and not miss out on these really important things? So let's talk about these real issues that we all face, this real struggle with balance. It gets really no more practical than this, just nuts and bolts, everyday life. This is it. So join us tonight. I really think our study will cause you to think, and I think that's always a wonderful thing. And it'll help you to grow, I think, which is essential. So have a great day, and hopefully we'll see you tonight.